Hi, you're here because you want to learn how to edit a YouTube video, and I'm here to show you. There's all sorts of different kinds of videos that you might be interested in editing. It could be vlog, informational, reaction, gaming, the list goes on. But none of these details really matter today because I want to take you through the super simple basics that apply to every single video ever edited. Let's start from the beginning. You've got your footage all shot, but it hasn't been edited into the final product of the video yet. Where do we go from here? Well, the first step is to get a real desktop video editing software. I'd go with DaVinci Resolve because it's free, but Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro works well too. If you don't have a desktop and you like to edit on an iPad or something, it's doable. I wouldn't recommend it, especially for the long term. Desktop editors tend to have a lot more features and are much more powerful if you're working on a PC or a Mac. So that's gonna be your long-term solution, but work with what you have. Just so you know, for this video, I'm working on DaVinci Resolve. I work on the Pro version, which is paid, but the free version does all of this stuff too. And no matter what editor you're using, the first thing you're gonna do is import all of your footage into your editor so that you can then edit the footage. Before we get to editing that footage though, I want to remind you that there's two parts to any finished video: the visual and the auditory. Every single YouTuber that I know uses music in their videos. It adds a whole nother level of energy and entertainment to the footage. The problem is if you don't own the rights to the music that you're using in your videos, you'll get demonetized, the video could get taken down, you could even run into some legal trouble, which is why every single filmmaker and YouTuber that I know uses a high quality, royalty-free subscription music service like today's video sponsor, Epidemic Sound. Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music and sound effects subscription service that makes high-quality music and sound effects accessible to creators like you and me. And to make it even more accessible to you, I have a link down in the description below and a 50% off code for new subscribers to get Epidemic Sound for a year for half off, which is crazy. 50% off that's a lot. One of the biggest problems facing creators when we produce videos or podcasts is finding good, high-quality music that's going to be legal to use and not sore to the ear. Epidemic Sound makes this really easy for creators though, because they've compiled tens of thousands of different songs in different genres and instrumentations, anything that you might need, all in one place. It makes it really easily browsable, and the songs are really easy to download. It is fitting that we're talking about video editing though today, because editing can take a long time, and Epidemic Sound has recently streamlined their Find Similar feature, which makes it really easy for us to find music that's similar to the ones that we might like but not quite right. And maybe you really like the beginning of a song but not the end, you can just search for the beginning. If you really like the end of a song, you want to find stuff like that, you can just search for the end. It's pretty cool. They also have hundreds of search features that allow us to get in, find the music, and get back into the editing as quickly as possible. Lickety-split. This 50% off deal is wild, so make sure that you check out that opportunity down in the description below. Thank you so much to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the meat and bones of it. Now once you've imported all of your footage, it's time to start going through it and adding the parts you want for the final video in chronological order. This process will be a little bit different if you've recorded audio separately, because then you have to link the audio to your video track and it all kind of happens in the timeline, but I'm assuming that your audio is linked. If not, it's really not that hard to just kind of adjust these things. Just know everything that I'm going to be talking about, if you're linking audio, you either have to do in a previous linked audio sort of software or just do it in the timeline. That was a bit of a ramble, but it's important. Now, when it comes to actually cutting this footage together, YouTube is all about being succinct. Okay, you want to keep the energy high through the whole video, and this means that you're going to want to cut out any of those dead spaces in between your footage. If there's a section where you're talking or nothing really is happening, when it comes to YouTube, generally it's best just to cut it out. There will also be moments if you've scripted your video or you're talking to the camera that you've paused to think, or you have to restart what you had previously said. This is called another take. Obviously, these are going to be cut out in the final edit, and that's what you're going through in this preliminary edit. And once you have that entire base layer of video done, which is your chronological order, all the stuff you shot that can go in and is sort of the bones of the video, you want to move on to the second stage, which is going to be adding music. Music is the glue that holds a ton of videos together, especially on YouTube. Now, Not all creators like to use music, or they don't use it in every segment of their video, but there's really no more powerful tool than music to make your videos more exciting and to just maintain a level of happiness, energy throughout the whole video. You can also get across other emotions like sadness, and the music is just unparalleled when it comes to conveying emotion. There is a caveat though. Low quality music will absolutely ruin your YouTube video, which is why I recommend users use some sort of high quality music and sound effects subscription licensing service like today's video sponsor, Epidemic Sound. Once you've picked out the good music, throw it under any part of the video that it seems to fit for you. Some people like to run music through the entirety of their timeline just to add a little bit of energy. I do that for the most part. Other times, if you're filming a vlog, maybe you want it only for certain montages and then don't have any music when you're talking. This is up to your creative discretion. Every video is different, so it's hard to give exact instructions. Just remember not to make the music too loud because that can really distract from the rest of the video, especially while you're talking. Now, let's return to the visual side of editing and start working on our A-roll. A-roll is that bones that we already put down at the beginning of the video. All of this cutting out of stuff that you don't want in the bones of your video is going to result in a bunch of cuts, something called jump cuts. Jump cuts are actually okay on YouTube. People are just really accustomed to seeing them. I just made a jump cut right there. You probably didn't even notice. I always say the less jumps, the better though. So now that we've finished the base layer of our video, I want to show you a couple of techniques that you can use to hide those cuts and make your video flow a little better. The first thing you can do is insanely simple. Just punch in with the cut. This works because if there's a more obvious change than just the glitch of the jump cut, your brain is not going to register the glitch. It's just going to notice the bigger change. You probably just noticed that I changed the focal length of the camera. It zoomed in a bit, but you didn't notice so much that I was shifted in a slightly different position. The next technique is simply covering all of the cuts with B-roll. Now, what is B-roll? Well, we talked about A-roll, and that's your bare bones. B-roll is what you put on top of your bare bones. A, B. B-roll's purpose is really to give your A-roll some visual aids to let people see what you're talking about. It can also be used to give some background details about the space that you're in, like footage of trees or a babbling brook, now that I am in the forest. If you put these B-roll segments over cuts, it's going to be a much smoother transition. You might not even notice the cut at all. So try out these techniques, see how they fit in your video, and then once you're happy with your B-roll and your covering cuts of the A-roll, you can add some final touches, stuff like text or sound effects, color correction. I don't really want to dive down these holes today though, because these are some serious rabbit holes and enough for 30-minute videos for each one of them, just to get the basics down. But for the basic YouTube video, whether it's a vlog or a reaction or a gaming thing or a talking head like I'm doing here, something informational, once you have your base layer, your music, some of your B-roll, your coverings, you're basically done. So congratulations, you've just completed your first YouTube video edit. Now you just gotta hit the export button, upload it to YouTube, and watch the likes roll in. Well, if it's your first YouTube video, you probably won't be watching the likes roll in for a little bit, but that's totally normal. Now don't worry if this first edit took you a long time, or if this is your 100th edit and it still took you a long time. Editing is one of those things that just takes a lot of practice to get down. Along the way, you're going to pick up your own styles, learn your own workflow, and by the time you know it, you're just going to be pumping out videos like a pro. I hope that you learned something today. If you did, please leave a like down below. It's free to you and it helps me out a ton. If you want to stick around, see more videos from me about this kind of stuff, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I think I already asked you to hit the like button. So subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff. Hey, if you don't, that's okay. I'm just glad that you were here today. Remember, you're an awesome human being. I hope to see you again soon. Peace.